The key turns, the latch clicks, and your toddler freezes, like their whole body just lost its next instruction. They were moving a second ago, mid-stride, mid-play, mid-thought. Then your voice comes through the doorway, and everything stops. The knees lock, the mouth parts, the eyes go wide, but the feet do not move. For one strange second, they look almost suspended between worlds. Then the spell breaks. They sprint, or slam into your legs and cling, or burst into tears so suddenly, it feels like the whole day was waiting behind the door. The easy explanation comes fast. You startled them. That sounds reasonable. It is also too small, because when a toddler goes completely still, at the sound of a familiar parent arriving, you are often not watching confusion at all. You are watching recognition hit the nervous system before action can catch up. The stop is part of the reunion. That is why this moment unsettles people. If they ran immediately, it would read as happiness. If they ignored you, it would read as distraction. But the stillness in between feels eerie, almost mechanical, like the child has to disappear for a second before becoming themselves again. Adults usually rush to explain that gap away. They were caught off guard. They forgot what they were doing. They were in trouble and got guilty. But toddlers are not simple creatures of reaction anymore. By this stage, they are carrying memory, expectation, an emotional backlog all at once. That second of stillness is not empty. It is crowded. The body goes quiet because too much meaning arrived at once. Toddlers live inside patterns now, not just moments. The shoes by the door mean something. A certain hour means something. The turn of the lock means something. Your footsteps in the hall mean something. They are not only responding to what is in front of them, they are building internal maps of how the day usually unfolds and where important people fit inside that map. So when your arrival cue hits, the child is not simply hearing a sound. They are hearing the next piece of a sequence they have been carrying in their body already. You do not just enter the house. You complete a prediction. This is the part most parents never hear. Attachment research has shown for a long time. That reunion is not just the happy ending of separation. It is its own event. In the reunion phase of observation-based attachment work, including what people learned from Mary Ainsworth's strange situation, adults might expect the important thing to be how much the child smiles or how fast they run back. But what often mattered just as much was the orienting first. The child did not always move immediately. They registered, checked, confirmed. Then came the rush, the cling, the tears, the relief. In other words, the body often paused because the relationship had to load before the emotion could spill. Recognition has a cost. That changes the whole doorway scene. Your toddler hears your voice, and in one instant, multiple systems light up together. Memory says, "That is my person." Expectation says, "The day is changing now." Attachment says, "The one who organizes my world is back." Emotion says, "Relief is possible." Protest is possible. Release is possible. The body holds still. Not because nothing is happening, but because too much is happening at once. It is the nervous system's way of making one fast. Essential update before choosing what comes next. The freeze is the hinge. This becomes easier to understand. If you think about predictive processing in ordinary adult terms, adults do this all day. Without noticing, we hear familiar footsteps and know who is coming. We hear a garage door and feel the day shift. We read a text alert from one person differently than from another because the meaning arrives before the content does. Toddlers are doing a rougher, louder, more body-driven version of the same thing. They are constantly matching incoming cues against their internal map of what should happen next. Your arrival is not neutral information. It is a high-priority update. The child stops moving. because the world just changed categories. And this is where the science becomes more embodied. In that split second, you often see the whole transition written into the body. The chest holds, the jaw loosens and tightens again, the fingers open, the shoulders rise, the breath catches before the first shout or sob. It is not a long freeze, because the body is not shutting down. It is switching modes. One state of the afternoon or evening is ending. Another state, the one that includes you, is starting up. Adults do that transition invisibly. Toddlers often do it with their whole body in public. The stillness is the loading screen you can actually see. That is why what comes after can look so dramatic. Adults often think the child is overreacting. You walked in. Why tears? Why cling so hard? Why that near feral run across the room, as if you came back from war instead of the grocery store? But the toddler is not reacting only to the sight of you in the present tense. They are reacting to the end of your absence, the collapse of waiting, the release of effort, and the shift from remembered you to actual you. Those are not little things. In a toddler body, they are enormous. Relief can hit like impact. Researchers who study emotion regulation in early childhood have noticed the same broad pattern in other moments, too. The arrival of a trusted adult does not always make visible emotion smaller right away. Sometimes it makes the emotion possible. Adults might expect safety to calm the child immediately and neatly, but often the first thing safety does is unlock the feelings that were being held under tension. That is why a toddler can look fine enough, right up until the exact second your key turns, and then suddenly fall apart in a heap of tears, clinging, whining, or wild joy. Your arrival did not create the feeling, it gave it permission. The reunion does not always soothe first. Sometimes it uncaps. This matters because parents often read the freeze backward. They think the pause means hesitation or uncertainty about them. But in many cases, that brief statue still second points the other way. Your return matters enough to interrupt movement itself. The room loses priority. The toy loses priority. The body stops. Because the system has to reorient around the most important new fact available. You are back now. That is not weak attachment. That is attachment with real weight. Nothing insignificant makes a toddler go still. This is also where toddler development gets especially rich. At this age, children do not only know that people exist when they are gone. They can hold those people in mind across time. They can wait, anticipate, miss, protest. They do not manage those experiences gracefully, but they do manage them more symbolically than babies do. The sound at the door is not just a sound. It is evidence that the person in memory is about to become physical again. That is why the moment lands with so much force. It is not just sensory recognition. It is relational confirmation. You are becoming real again in front of their body, and that is why some toddlers do not run first. They cry first, or cling first, or stand there with a face that suddenly looks much younger than it did 1 second earlier. Adults can misread that as regression or melodrama, but what you may actually be seeing is the cost of holding yourself together until your regulator becomes available. A toddler can comply, wait, and function while carrying a low hum of effort underneath it all. When the right person returns, the effort is no longer required in the same way. The body knows it. The body yields. They are not falling apart. Because you came home, they are stopping the effort. Because home arrived. This is where your role needs an upgrade. You are not just the person who gets the hug after the freeze. You are the event the child's nervous system has been orienting around. Your key in the lock, your step in the hall, your voice through the door. These are not small household sounds. They are attachment cues. They tell the child, What kind of emotional state is now possible? Before you arrive, the room is one kind of world. After you arrive, it becomes another. You are not just back. You change what the room means. That is one reason these reunions can feel so loaded for adults too. The stillness reveals something you usually do not get to see. It shows that your child was not just vaguely aware of your absence. They were organized around it. Your return lands with enough weight to stop the body before it restarts it. That is what makes the moment look eerie. It is not eeriness. It is significance showing up in muscle and breath. The freeze is what importance looks like in a toddler's body. On its own, a toddler going completely still for a brief second when they hear a familiar parent arrive does not usually mean anything is wrong. Many toddlers show this kind of orienting pause before they run, cling, or become emotional, especially when tired, highly attached, or carrying stress from the day. Every child develops on their own timeline. But if a child seems persistently unresponsive to familiar arrivals, rarely or never orients to important voices, shows long periods of freezing that do not resolve into reunion behavior, or has broader concerns around connection and responsiveness across settings, it may be worth raising with a pediatric professional, not because one silent second is alarming, but because repeated patterns matter more than isolated moments. The deeper truth here is bigger than, "My toddler gets dramatic when I come home." A toddler is not only learning that people leave and return, they are learning what it feels like when someone can be remembered, anticipated, and then suddenly heard becoming real at the door. They are learning that attachment is not just closeness in the moment. It is time, memory, expectation, and the body's ability to reorganize when someone important comes back. So the next time the key turns, the door opens, and your toddler goes still before they run, cling, or fall apart in your arms. Do not read the old story too quickly. Do not assume the pause means fear or the tears mean instability. Watch the sequence. Watch the body stop. Watch the meaning land. Watch the emotion finally move. This is not a strange little habit. This is development happening in real time. They are not just reacting to a sound. They are learning what it means for the person they were carrying in memory to come back into the room and for one electric second rearrange their entire world.